Hey y'all out there in Facebook land. Today is day 2 of Mindfulness Month. Yesterday we spoke a little bit about sort of an introduction to mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Probably have all heard about it by now. You know, it's kind of a few thousand years old, the concept. And while it wasn't super popular when I was a kid, I'm not talking about how long ago that was. Who cares, right? Who cares? It's just a number. It has become more popular since I was a kid. And we're going to talk about today, what we're going to talk about is the benefits of mindfulness. Why is it important? Why is it a good idea for you to cultivate mindfulness? There are many reasons. Let's start with the mental health benefits, since this is sort of a mental and emotional wellness podcast show thing. Let's talk about the mental health benefits. First off, it reduces stress. By focusing our attention on the present moment, we stop that cycle of thoughts. I don't know about you guys, I have thoughts sometimes that just keep going and going. And if I don't make a very, very concerted effort to stop them, they keep going. So mindfulness really helps with that. It interrupts that. And as far as anxiety and depression are concerned, it's funny. People will say, oh, you know, anxiety comes from worrying about the future and depression comes from being in the past. And for me, I don't know about you guys, but I can get depressed about things in the future and I can get anxious about things in the past. So I don't know what they're talking about there. However, the fact does remain that you're either in the past or you're in the future. And either way, you're not happy because you're stressing about it. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, bringing yourself and your consciousness into the moment means that you're not doing that. When you're cultivating an awareness, we talked a little bit about this last month, of your thoughts and feelings without judgment, you can start to recognize the patterns and the triggers for your patterns. Without judgment's key, and that's something we'll focus on next month. Non-judgment, because for people with mood disorders, and even I think just neuronorms, not judging yourself is can be a challenge sometimes. So mindfulness helps with that. If you can just get yourself into the present, watch what's going on. You're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're the one observing them, and they are neither good nor bad. They just are. It helps you from getting swept up in like going away with them. And actually there are many studies that show mindfulness does help with reduction of the symptoms of depression, anxiety, which means it can be kind of a complementary tool to other treatments, right? It's not like mindfulness is going to stop the chemicals that are or not in your brain from being or not being in your brain. But it does help stop those patterns that you've developed over the years. Physically, it lowers blood pressure. So one of the big problems we have in the Western world, I think specifically in America, I haven't looked this up specifically, but I think it's like a thing in America, is heart disease, right? And this is because of the chronic stress that we're under. We do not treat ourselves well. We stay in the fight reflex, which is not something that we were, as we developed as animals, as we evolved. It's not something we were ever meant to be in permanently. That was like a special, like, oh, let's run away from this bear kind of thing. And then once the danger has passed, you chill and you relax. These days, it doesn't happen like that. Our bears are everywhere. We've got a saber-toothed tiger over there. We've got a cobra rattlesnake over there. We've got all these dangerous things all around us. Of course, they're not actually these dangerous things, but our brain is perceiving them as dangerous things, and that boosts our cortisol level, and that makes it difficult to relax and increases our blood pressure, and that increases our risk of heart disease. When we do some mindfulness practices, we can do some like progressive muscle relaxation or guided imagery. This helps lower your blood pressure and relaxes the blood vessels, and that reduces the heart rate. So the relaxation response can become a key factor in preventing long-term health issues. The other thing it does in your physical body is that it boosts your immune function. So stress weakens the immune response, which makes us more susceptible to illnesses. And which means logically, right, by reducing stress levels, mindfulness can enhance our immune function and increases our body's ability to fight off infection and disease and viruses. And as a way of kind of reinforcing itself, that leads us to fewer sick days and greater capacity to maintain an overall health. And that helps in stress reduction, because then you're not stressed out about being sick all the time, or missing work, or not getting all the things done that you need to get done, or just sitting there and lying in bed, which, as someone who's been depressed, lying in bed, it's not useful. Having to lie in bed makes things so much worse. So get out of bed. Cognitively, now our functions, our focus, our attention is like, it's all over the place these days, right? I mean, like, there are so many distractions. The life is just going at this frenetic pace. You know, like, oh, someone's texting me and now they're pissed off that I didn't, this is a bugaboo of mine, but now they're pissed off that I didn't get right back to them because I should, okay, you know what? Cut that one off, put it over there. So yeah, we've got this frenetic pace of life, right? And let's be honest, the powers that be want us distracted. They don't want us focusing on important things. They want us doing this all the time. And mindfulness detracts from that. So this not only helps, like mindfulness not only helps in reducing distractions, but it helps you become more productive in work or daily life. And you can use techniques like mindful listening or focused attention meditation to sharpen your concentration skills. And that makes tasks easier to complete and to enjoy. The other thing it helps with in the cognitive area is with flexibility. Cognitive flexibility, which is the ability to switch in between thinking about different concepts, like quickly, and even maybe a couple of multiple concepts simultaneously, like, okay, keeping track of this thing, that. Mindfulness enhances this flexibility by promoting a state of mental openness and adaptability. Now, this comes in crucial when you want to solve problems with creative thinking and dealing with change, which is something that we all have a little trouble with, right? But sometimes some people have more trouble with than others. So by regularly practicing mindfulness, we become more adept at shifting perspectives. And this is valuable in both personal and professional settings. Now, there are also the emotional benefits, right? First is emotional resiliency. This is the ability to cope with stress and anxiety. I don't know about you guys, but for a long time, my default reaction was freak out. Like, freak out. I don't know what to do in this situation, so I will freak out. That was like the thing that I did. Which was basically an inability to cope with stress and with adversity. So this mindfulness will help build this resilience by helping us observe our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. So it goes back to, I am not my thoughts, I am not my feelings, I am the observer of these, and I can choose to observe them and not get caught up with them, and not get swept away and lost in them. It takes practice. It does. It doesn't happen overnight. But this is, you can kind of help by doing things like body scan meditations. We learn to identify where the emotions manifest physically. Like, they just do. A certain area will tense up, right? Like, people like do the eye twitching thing. They're like, and you're like, why is your eye twitching? And it's because they're stressed, right? Because of one thing or another, it's manifesting physically. This shit manifests physically all over our body. There's not an emotion that does not manifest physically. So if you're doing a body scan meditation, you can find where it is and release it. And this helps us process emotions more effectively. And it fosters kind of an awareness, but the awareness fosters this sense of stability inside, even in turbulent times. And that can help us bounce back from setbacks. So when you're mindful, when you're in the moment, you're not being, You're not swept away by everything, and it takes practice. It does. That's why they call it a practice, the mindfulness practice. But if you keep at it, you can separate yourself from that stuff, not judge it, and react from a different place. Realize that you can react differently to your thoughts and your emotions. It also enhances our capacity. It enhances our capacity for empathy and compassion. This increases, because it increases our awareness of our own experiences and the experiences of others. So there's this thing called loving kindness meditation, which I just kind of learned about recently, but it involves focusing on sending positive intentions to ourselves and others. And this can kind of help cultivate feelings of empathy and compassion, which improves our relationships and contributes to a sense of connectivity and community, which is a problem for people who suffer from depression, because we feel like not connected. Anyway, this is mindfulness. It's been a really long video, but these are some of the benefits that you can get from being mindful. And we'll be talking about stuff like this all month long. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we are talking about, I think it's going to be stopping, resting, healing. No. What is it? It's this concept from Thich Nhat Hanh that I cannot remember right now. Stopping, resting, healing. Stopping something, resting, healing. We'll talk about it tomorrow. It'll be a tomorrow thing. I'm grateful for that, though. Anyway, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for mindfulness. And I'm going to remind you guys, as always, that you can always choose. Even if you're like kind of all distracted and all over the place and you're like, oh no, I need to be more mindful. You can always choose to have a grateful day.